Becoming a professional athlete is tough, but reaching the top of a major sport is even harder. Today, Virgil van Dijk is widely regarded as one of the best center backs in world football, maybe even one of the best ever. But his path to the summit was far from straightforward. As a teenager, few would have predicted the rise he's had, not even Van Dijk himself. So, how did he get here? What shaped the journey of a player who went from overlooked talent to global star? To understand that, we have to start from the beginning. Virgil van Dijk's humble beginnings. The 33-year-old center-back began his journey in the youth academy at Dutch side Willem II before moving to FC Groningen. But even in those early days, things were far from easy. He faced physical challenges as a teenager that nearly derailed his progress. My knee was a bit unstable. I had groin problems. I had so many problems, but then I had proper rehab and was out for 6 weeks, Van Dijk told BBC Radio 5 Live. After that, I started playing well. Interestingly, he didn't start out in the heart of defense. Like many Dutch players, his position shifted as he developed. While Ruud van Nistelrooy famously began his career as a goalkeeper before becoming a striker, Van Dijk's transition was less drastic. He started out as a right back. At 16, I was a slow right back and not good enough to play center back, he admitted. I was never an outstanding player until I played for the under-19s at Willem II and became captain. That moment of leadership changed things. His performances picked up. He earned minutes with the under-23s, and then things quickly took off. At FC Groningen, Van Dijk broke into the first team and made 66 appearances, showing early signs of what he'd become. Not only was he reliable at the back with his reading of the game and strength in duels, but he also contributed going forward, scoring 7 goals, whether from open play or set pieces. From a struggling teenager to a commanding presence on both ends of the pitch, the Dutchman's transformation was well underway. The rise of Virgil van Dijk. For most promising Dutch players, the next logical step after impressing at a mid-table Eredivisie club is a move to one of the country's traditional giants. Ajax, Feyenoord, or PSV. That's the well-trodden route. But for Virgil van Dijk, the path to the top looked very different. Though he was linked with Ajax, they chose to sign Mike van der Hoorn instead, a decision many questioned even at the time. Reflecting on his journey, Van Dijk admitted it was far from the norm. The road I have been along has not been a typical path for a Dutch player, he told The Times in 2016. Normally the road will be from Groningen to a big club in Holland and then to a big club abroad. For example, Luis Suarez came to Holland and went from Groningen to Ajax to Liverpool. For me, the bigger clubs didn't want to touch me. Ajax, Feyenoord, PSV, and AZ were not too sure about me. We needed to make a decision, wait for them, or go to Celtic and hope for the best. Celtic took the chance, and it proved to be a turning point. The Dutchman didn't just settle, he thrived. He developed in every part of his game, stronger in defense, more confident in possession, and even added free kick duties to his skill set. Playing Champions League football exposed him to some of Europe's best attackers, and his learning curve accelerated quickly. Yet, even after excelling in Scotland, a call-up to the Netherlands senior team remained just out of reach. He had been called up in late 2014, but his debut didn't come until October 2015, shortly after his move to the Premier League with Southampton. Some wondered if he could make the leap, but those doubts vanished fast. Van Dijk had a standout debut season in England, quickly becoming Southampton's defensive anchor. By the end of the campaign, both fans and teammates named him their player of the season. It became clear. Van Dijk wasn't just good, he was exceptional. Southampton had found a gem, and it wouldn't be long before the biggest clubs came calling. Virgil van Dijk's Liverpool transfer. The next step was inevitable. He belonged on the biggest stage at one of Europe's elite. Fortunately, his hunger for the top aligned perfectly with Liverpool's need for a defensive leader. The timing couldn't have been better. They needed each other. They gave everything to get me, and I want to give everything for them, Van Dijk said. When you play for this club, you are always welcome as if you were part of the family. That's one of the reasons I definitely wanted to play for this club. In January 2018, Liverpool made him the world's most expensive defender, signing him from Southampton for €75 million. It was a deal that raised eyebrows, but one the club never regretted. Ironically, they could have had him for a fraction of the price just a few years earlier. John Collins, Van Dijk's former coach at Celtic, recalled, "Gary McAllister was assistant to Brendan Rodgers at Liverpool, and I told him, I hope you're going to come and take Virgil. Brendan didn't fancy him and didn't think he was better than what he already had. It would have cost around €12 million. Still, when he did eventually arrive at Liverpool, Van Dijk wasted no time proving his worth. He made his debut just 3 days after officially joining Liverpool, heading in a late winner against Everton in the FA Cup at Anfield, right in front of the Cup. It was a perfect start to what would become a legendary career in red. In his first full season, Van Dijk was a revelation. He helped Liverpool reach another Champions League final in 2 years, and this time, they didn't miss out. In 2019, they beat Tottenham to become champions of Europe. Van Dijk's towering presence and calm leadership at the back were crucial. That same season, he was named PFA Player of the Year, the first defender to win it in over a decade. The following year, he helped end Liverpool's 30-year wait for a league title. Jurgen Klopp's side dominated the Premier League, finishing with 99 points and leaving Manchester City in their wake. COVID-19 restrictions meant the team couldn't celebrate with fans, but the achievement spoke for itself. More than 300 games later, it's clear Van Dijk's move to Liverpool has been a perfect match. Some players thrive in smaller clubs, but Van Dijk raised his game even further in the pressure cooker of one of football's biggest teams. And his influence hasn't been limited to Merseyside. For the Netherlands, his impact has been just as transformative. After missing out on both Euro 2016 and the 2018 World Cup, the national team was in need of a reset. The appointment of Ronald Koeman as manager marked that change, and one of his first decisions was to hand Van Dijk the captain's armband. Under Van Dijk's leadership, the Dutch reached the semi-finals of the inaugural UEFA Nations League, beating both Germany and France along the way. And while the team was finding its feet again, so too was Van Dijk, cementing his place among football's very best. In 2019, just 4 years after leaving Celtic, Van Dijk finished second in the Ballon d'Or voting, just 7 points behind Lionel Messi. It was a rare moment where a defender was seriously in the mix for the game's most prestigious individual prize, and though he didn't win, it was validation for everything he had become. Virgil van Dijk defends with aura. Today, Virgil van Dijk is one of the most feared defenders for strikers to come up against. So much so, many have joked that the Dutchman defends using his aura. It's a testament to how he makes defending look effortless. He rarely needs to dive into tackles or sprint back in panic because he's already in control. For years now, his calm presence alone has been enough to unsettle attackers, often forcing them to hesitate or even turn around before making a move. One of the latest examples came against Nottingham Forest. Anthony Elanga, known for his pace, looked ready to charge at Van Dijk, but as the Dutchman approached, Elanga slowed down, almost as if he'd run into a wall. Without breaking a sweat, Van Dijk calmly stepped in and poked the ball away. It was defending made to look easy. At times, it feels like he's holding the defense together single-handedly, lifting the level of those around him. A perfect example came in a tight match against Tottenham in 2019. After Spurs equalized at Anfield, they had a golden chance to take the lead. Moussa Sissoko charging toward goal with Heung-min Son alongside him. Van Dijk was the only one back, but somehow, he neutralized both. "I see Sissoko and I know he's right-footed, and Son normally finishes these chances," Van Dijk explained after the game. "So yeah, I decide from that. It wasn't a tackle, it wasn't a block, it was simply smart, decisive defending, forcing Sissoko onto his weaker foot, shutting down the pass to Son, and watching the chance go begging." That shows why Liverpool paid more than €70 million for Van Dijk, said then Spurs manager Mauricio Pochettino. Gary Neville, no stranger to top-level defending, was just as impressed. "Young defenders, you must watch Virgil van Dijk. He picks the lesser of two evils, gives Sissoko the shot on his left, blocks the pass to Son. It's really good defending." The debates around Van Dijk's greatness will continue. That's natural when a player is this good, but one thing is clear. He absolutely belongs in the conversation with the best. He's taken what's supposed to be difficult, reading attacks, leading a back line, staying calm under pressure, and made it look routine. That's Van Dijk's gift. He doesn't just stop attacks. He prevents them from even starting. Liverpool's title-winning season has had many contributing factors, but no one has been more vital than their captain. Even with the occasional off day, because no player is perfect, his influence is undeniable. But what do you think? Is Virgil van Dijk one of the greatest defenders to ever play the game, or does he have more to prove? Let us know your thoughts below, and be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell for more football content.